I will call to order the regular board meeting of the Board of Election Commissioners for the City of Chicago. Good morning. My name is Maricel Hernandez. I'm the chair. And with me today is Commissioner June Brown.
Present.
And Commissioner William Cressy.
Also present.
Great. Thank you. Next item is the consideration of the agenda. Do we have any proposed changes? If not, then we'll proceed with the approval of the regular board meeting minutes of June 14th, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes and the minutes are approved. The next item is the Executive Director's report. Mr. Holliday.
Good morning, Madam Chair and fellow commissioners. I would just like to report that we have completed the redistricting of precinct lines, redrawing of the precinct lines. I'm proud to announce that we have reduced our precincts from 2,069 to 1,290. A reduction of 779 precincts. We're scheduled for implementation of new precinct lines for this coming weekend, and we'll be testing and proofing up until August 29th. We expect to have published maps, district schedules, and have available walk sheets on August 29th. I would like to thank our team that worked on this in districts, Larry Hansen, Oscar Peterson, and Tran, along with Rick Thurman and Al Chase and IT. And I want to thank Lance Golf because he worked with us on this as well. On August 20th through the 24th, I'll be attending the 37th Annual National Conference of the Election Center in Denver, Colorado. Max, he's in today, but he was on another call. So I just want to report for him. He's finalizing a new permanent vote by mail roster form, getting everything ready and translated for the start of vote by mail applications on tomorrow. He's taping a podcast fully in Hindi with Kim Mehta. So besides that, Madam Chair, I don't have anything else to report other than myself, Max, and Kimmy. We had a visit to the Hindi consulate a couple of weeks ago, and we received an invitation for their National Day with us, which is August 15th, next Monday. So, and we're just getting ready and getting prepared for the upcoming election and the petitions that we're being worked on now. And Adam, I guess he can give you more details about that. So again, I'm just happy to report that we had success at reducing the precincts here in the city of Chicago. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, Charles, first of all, before question, again, thanks to everyone who worked on this remapping of the precincts. Excellent job. And what was the total number of precincts we reduced again?
We reduced 779, so we have a total of 1,290 election precincts now.
So by reducing 779, we're essentially, if you consider 5 election judges per each precinct, we've reduced the number of judges that we'll need by almost 3,800. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And some of the wards where have the high number of voters, we will work out a system where they can get a couple of extra judges. Because statute, allowed up to 1,800 voters in a precinct. So there will be some precincts that have a few more judges, not all.
Sure. Okay, excellent work. Thank you.
So ends my report, Madam Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was muted. Now we'll hear from Sandra Spera, our Assistant Executive Director.
Good morning, Madam Chair and good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I met with the Office of Budget Management to discuss the proposed annual budget to clarify budget requests that are being submitted. Preparation for the 2022 general election, I already began ordering supplies such as ballot paper for early voting and election day touchscreen. Last week, the Judges Department began mailing the judges' application to those that apply by mail. Tomorrow, August 10th is the first day a registered voter may make an application for a vote by mail ballot. I have 2 debriefing meetings of the 2022 primary election scheduled. I have an initial meeting with Dominion this afternoon and a meeting with ESNX next week. Since the executive director has announced the number of official precincts, I will be coordinating with the impacted departments the necessary adjustments, for example, polling places, judges of election, and the warehouse. I've conducted an internal audit of the SIM cards, working with the IT department. This will enable us to reduce the number of cards to be purchased. This will result in a major cost savings for the board. The warehouse continues to remove supplies and equipment to provide an inventory of what should be purchased. I will also be joining Charles at the attending the Election Center's annual conference in Denver later this month. And this concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions, we will then proceed to old business, infrastructure projects and changes in election administration, voting equipment, and electronic poll books. Do we have any updates on those?
None, Madam Chair.
Okay. And Mr. Lasker, I assume we have nothing on legislation?
That's correct. They're still out in session, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll proceed to new business, and the first item is the consideration and adoption of the first revised 2023 election calendar. Mr. Lasker, is this you?
Yes, Madam Chair, I can speak on that. Thank you. As we discussed, you first approved this election calendar for 2023 on July 19th, and on that day, we discussed the signature requirement issues for these new elected positions in the police district councils. As a reminder, there will be 3 people elected to each of the 22 police districts. The signature requirement in the Chicago City Council ordinance that establishes these offices has a little ambiguity in it. It's an unusual signature requirement for candidates because it's based upon the total number of registered voters in each district. Candidate signature requirements are usually based upon election results from a prior election. And so one of the differences is that election results, once they're certified, they don't change. Those numbers remain exactly the same, whereas the number of registered voters within any district fluctuates, theoretically, essentially on a daily basis. And the ordinance doesn't tell us which day to select the data that you use for the calculation. So what I did was selected the close of registration for this past June 2022 primary. It's an arbitrary date that I picked, but it's one that at least has a little meaning. It's current, it's recent. And so that's just a proposal, it being the most recent election we've had. So I've taken the registration data from the close of registration of this June 2022 primary and calculated the signature requirements for each of the police district councils. And I've placed that information then into this revised version of the calendar, along with a disclaimer that does inform people that unlike the set signature requirements for candidates based on past election results, these are essentially just estimates. I cannot tell you that it's 100% definite as that this is the number that must be strictly enforced as the signature requirement, because that number is going to be slightly different just depending on what day you look at the number of registered voters in every district. So that's what's in the new calendar. I'll also point out that this registration data includes both the active status and inactive status registered voters, all of whom are registered to vote, all of whom are entitled to walk into a precinct, request to cast a ballot on election day. Also, I would point out that I previously in my private practice life had a case where I was defending some referendum proponents who had a petition based with a signature requirement based on registered voters. The county clerk's office, when asked for a list of all registered voters, gave us only the active status voters. And our question got bumped off the ballot because it did not have enough signatures. Then it did not include in the calculation the inactive class of voters as well. So again, just to summarize, we've now got 22 different police districts with signature requirement estimates based upon registration data from the 2022 primary, and with all registered voters, both active and inactive. That's my report on that. Are there any questions?
Adam, question or two on that. It's
Sure.
my understanding that the superintendent of police has until August 30th to change the boundary lines of the 22 police districts. Any word that he's not going to?
I have not heard any word that he is going to change anything. The ordinance
Okay.
does say he has until the beginning of the petition circulation period, which is August 30th.
Right.
My understanding from what I've been told by people with city council is that they had their prior negotiations with the police district, made it clear to them how complicated it would be for us. I requested as much time as possible before, as a deadline, and they gave us the 90 days for the circulation period, which is actually more than 90 days before the election. So hopefully there are no changes coming. I haven't heard.
Secondly, would it be any help if this board were to pass a resolution that in light of the, shall we say, vagueness of certain sections of the ordinance, that we declare as a safe harbor these numbers that we will consider registered voters as of the date you had selected, and that these these numbers of signatures is a safe harbor for candidates running for this board? Would that have any additional strength?
I think that language might confuse people. With all due respect, it confuses me as to what a safe harbor would be. And I say that because the Illinois Supreme Court has recently ruled.
That's because it's from me. That's why it's confusing. Go ahead.
Well, no, but hear me out. I mean, in all respect, the Illinois Supreme Court has relatively recently ruled that signature requirements must be strictly enforced down to the numeral. If you have one signature too many, that's okay. One signature too few, you're not on the ballot. So we can't really, the board doesn't have any statutory authority to provide a safe harbor. This signature requirement just needs to be enforced strictly. I think that we have accomplished perhaps what you're intending to accomplish here with the disclaimer that is both in the very inside page, page 2 of the election calendar, the disclaimer that I've drafted. And it also appears again as a footnote on the page where those signatures actually appear. It's, to point out that these are estimates, that this number can't be strictly enforced. The electoral board is going to have an issue. But also I'm hoping we're going to get a remedy from this through the city council. I have been speaking with people from the city council requesting that they change the signature requirement. They're open to that consideration, and might happen at its meeting this month. If not in the near future, hopefully before the electoral board has to start hearing these cases.
Well, my thinking was maybe just as to the base from which the signature calculation is taken, of registered voters as of this date. And that would give at least our electoral board hearing officers something to latch onto, which hopefully then would also be adopted by the courts.
So again, I like your reasoning. The board certainly could pass a resolution, but I would point out that in the disclaimer that I've drafted, that's in the draft I've presented for the calendar, it states that date. I want our calendar here with these signature requirements is frequently referred to during those electoral board cases when those aldermanic and mayoral cases come up. So when this comes up, the hearing officers would look to this publication. They would see the disclaimer. They'd see the date we chose. It would be up to them. But I think that, again, I just tried to pick a reasonable date. I think that in prior, for some of these referendum issues, referendum signature requirements based on this issue, I think they do say the number of registered voters as of the last election.
Okay.
So that's where I got the idea.
And
I
the
think
board, I was going to say, and the board adopts the calendar. So we are
Correct.
Officially adopting it. Okay.
Correct.
Right.
So I could take the extra step of passing a resolution, but I kind of feel like that mission has already been accomplished with what we're seeking your adoption of today.
Hopefully the city council will clarify the vagueness of those issues. Thank you. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mhm. Okay. If there are no further questions, is there a motion to adopt the first revised 2023 election calendar?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item is a resolution for the disposal of FOIA and electoral board materials stored beyond
Point of order, Madam.
statutory. Yes,
I think we've skipped over a few things. We had the Assistant Executive Director's report. Did we skip over old business?
No,
There was
Oh,
nothing.
that
It
was
was
addressed
nothing. Okay,
briefly.
never
Yeah.
mind. I'm out of
Okay.
order. Okay.
okay, no problem. Thank you. Next item is the approval of a resolution for the disposal of FOIA and electoral board materials. Mr. Lasker?
Yes, thank you. I apologize for late distribution on this resolution. Just trying to take a little time off with the family, and this one slipped through the cracks. But my esteemed legal counsel assistant, Joan Agnew, was at the warehouse recently and saw what she described as a mountain of materials out there that are related to prior electoral board proceedings and Freedom of Information Act FOIA request matters. So in order to make space for the incoming new materials, we are requesting this resolution to authorize the disposal of the electoral board and FOIA materials all created prior to July 1st of 2017. So for all of these materials, they've surpassed their statutory retention periods and are subject to disposal.
Okay, any questions?
Yes, Adam, when you say disposal, how are we disposing of them? We're going to use a commercial shredding service?
That's what's frequently used, yes. So that would be, I believe, the normal procedures.
Okay. As long as they don't show up at the Lasker family bonfire.
Is there a motion to approve the resolution for the disposal of FOIA and electoral board materials which have been stored beyond their statutory retention dates?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next item is the legal report. Mr. Lasker, anything else?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. As you heard from Mr. Holliday, the board has received one petition for a discovery recount related to the 2022 primary election. This is in the Republican Party primary, the office of Congress in the 1st Congressional District. The petition was filed by the second place finisher, Jeff Regnier. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce that. Versus the first place finisher at the moment, Eric Carlson. Just to let you know, there are 9 precincts as a part of the petition here in Chicago that we will be recounting for discovery purposes. There are 18 precincts that the Cook County Clerk's Office will also be recounting on the separate petition filed with them. I am not sure, this congressional district extends into Will County. I'm not sure whether they've extended the discovery recount down there or not. Staff is currently preparing the numerous voluminous documents and ballots and everything related for that. We'll be setting it up at the warehouse. My understanding is the county is planning to begin their part of the recount on or about August 15th. Obviously, all the parties are the same. As a courtesy, we don't want to do our recount at the same time as the county. So we'll follow when they're done. We'll follow up with ours. Secondly, we do have some pending electoral board cases. As you'll recall, the electoral board first convened on 4 cases related to independent and new party candidates. 2 of those cases have recently come to a resolution based on a candidate withdrawal. However, I'm not convening the board on that just for those 2 cases because there's no need for judicial review. The parties won't be concerned on a candidate withdrawal case. We will wait until we have some more cases with substance before we issue final decisions on those 2. We do have 7 newer cases, all related to Republican Party resolutions filling vacancies in nomination. those 7 cases have had hearing officers assigned by me because the electoral board has already convened and adopted rules of procedure that authorize me to assign hearing officers. For those 7 cases, I've stuck with the hearing officers Barbara Goodman and Yamil Cologne, who were from the first batch of 4 cases. And we've added to that Linda Crane and Frank Tedesco, both of whom are very experienced hearing officers for the board. So I have no doubt they will do a great job. And the initial hearings begin this afternoon in those cases. So I'll keep you informed as to when we're going to need to reconvene that electoral board for either some subpoena work off of these new 7 cases or final resolutions on any and all. And that is my legal report for today.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? If not, then we will proceed with the financial report. First item is a balance sheet and voucher listing for the City of Chicago, a 2022 appropriation number 22-05 dated August 9th, 2022 in the amount of $1,032,369.49. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Yeah, properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Okay, motion passes. The next item is a balance sheet and voucher listing for the County of Cook, a 2022 appropriation number 22-05 dated August 9th, 2022 in the amount of $2,625,691.80. Is there a motion to approve?
Commissioner Brown moves to approve.
Seconded by Commissioner Cressy.
Is probably moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. At this time, do we have any public comment?
Ms. Gabelnick, I believe, requested to speak.
Sure.
Yeah, I wanted to know if you know yet what the ballot arrangement is going to be with having the constitutional amendment and also the referendum for the Cook County Forest Preserve tax increase, whether those are going to be together, whether those are going to be on a separate ballot, or how that's going to be arranged for the election.
We usually consult with the county and try to have our ballots similar with the county on those matters. We've been placing constitutional questions towards the front of the ballot as compared to where all other referenda would go towards the end of the ballot. That's probably how it's going to work out this time, but I'm not aware that we've made a final decision on that yet.
When will that?
Holiday, do you have anything to add to that?
Nothing at the moment, Adam.
Yeah.
That we'll check with the county and then we will have a clear understanding on how those are going to be placed on the ballot.
So I did have a short conversation about this with Jim Nally, the attorney for the county, and we talked about how we usually do things and talked about wanting to continue that way. But again, that's not an official decision that's been made. That's just the fact that we have been in touch about it, and we'll continue to nail these things down as the ballot developments shape up. We also Chicago received several local petitions last week and by the deadline for, precinct and ward matters.
And that would be with the referendum?
Towards the end of the ballot, yes.
Yeah, the end of the ballot.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Is there any other public comment?
Commissioner Cressy would like to take this opportunity to thank a lot of the folks that are here, Adam, Charles, Lance, my fellow Commissioner June, in participating in the 2 events we had on Friday at the board offices for the American Bar Association annual meeting here in town. I also want to thank all the staff people that were involved as well, especially Clint and Geneva. And they did a great job. The people who participated, coming back to the events this weekend, a lot of people talking about how impressed they were with our operations they didn't understand the intensity and all of the extensiveness of what we do in running an election. They were very grateful for that. And as I say, they plan on conducting that at election authorities in all future cities where they have annual or mid-year meetings. So I've just created a bunch of enemies out there, but it was wonderful. They really, and we had state attorney generals in this tour group and state Supreme Court justices. So they were very much impressed with what we do. And I want to thank you all for once again making me look good. Thank you again.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner
Yes.
Brown, I would just like to say, they made you proud, the whole group, as the chair, and it was really a great program. And of course, having Speaker, as you said, Joycelyn Benson from Secretary of State from Michigan in the morning, and then the afternoon program, and the other people. So you are chair of chairs, and the staff was wonderful, and everyone did a great presentation. So I really enjoyed it as well, and was very proud.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm sorry I missed it due to
No, you're doing
personal
better, sir.
reasons.
No, much
Yeah.
better stuff.
Are there any other comments? Okay. If not, Mr. Lasker, is there a need for executive session today?
Today, Madam Chair, thank you.
Okay, if not, then I would welcome a motion for adjournment.
So moved by Commissioner Cressy.
Seconded by Commissioner Brown.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Commissioner Cressy votes aye.
Commissioner Brown votes aye.
Thank you. We are then formally adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Do the
Take care,
same.
Madam
And
Chair.
take care,
Well,
Madam
take
Chair,
care.
and take
Thank you.
care of your dad.
I will. Thank you.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.